Hi everybody, here's your introduction to weight versus mass. Weight and mass are two commonly confused terms. Although they are related, they do not mean the same thing. We're going to get back to this picture in a second. Let's first talk about mass. Mass is a measure of matter. That is, mass tells us how much stuff something is made out of. If we look at the two cats above, clearly the cat on the left has more mass because it's bigger, he has more stuff. Mass is measured in grams, although we typically use kilograms. On the other hand, weight is the force of gravity exerted on an object. Weight is a measure of the force with which the earth pulls down on an object, the force of gravity. Weight and force of gravity are the same thing. You can use them interchangeably. In fact, if I were to draw a force diagram for Louis, I would have the force of gravity down, force normal, going up, and whatever this force of gravity was, let's say it's 92 newtons. That would be the same thing as his weight. As weight is the same thing as the force of gravity, weight also has the units of newtons. It's just another way of saying force of gravity on an object. Let's get back to that photo that we had before. So, an easy way to remember the difference between mass and weight is to think about how they would change or wouldn't change on different planets. For instance, if Louis the cat were to travel to the moon, would the cat's mass change? Would the amount of stuff that he was made out of change? No, he's still the same exact cat with the same amount of atoms and the same mass overall. But because he's on a different planet which has a different gravity, he's going to have a different force of gravity on him on the moon. If I were to draw on a force diagram, here is the force of gravity. This would be the force of gravity on the cat due to the moon. Here would be my force normal on the cat due to the moon's surface. These are still going to be equal with each other because he's just laying there, of course. But maybe now this force of gravity is only 70 newtons. And I didn't do the calculations. Again, I'm just throwing in some rough numbers. So the fact is that mass is constant anywhere in the universe, the amount of stuff that you're made out of. But weight is a measure of the force exerted on any object due to its gravity. Now, I'm sure you're saying, well, Mr. Cirqua, isn't there a relationship between mass and force of gravity? Of course there is. There's actually a really close relationship between the two. If we look back up here with Louis and Phoebe here, clearly Louis is more massive than Phoebe is, and as a result, Louis is going to weigh more. The force of gravity exerted down on him by the Earth is going to be larger than it is for Phoebe. So mass and force of gravity, or mass and weight, have a relationship between each other. What we are going to try to determine in class is what is the mathematical relationship between these two. Ultimately, what we should be able to do is, if we're given mass, we should be able to calculate force of gravity. If we're given force of gravity, we should be able to calculate mass and go back and forth between the two. But it's important that we have a conceptual understanding first, which is what this video was all about. Thanks for watching, everybody, and please let me know if you have any questions.